He looked me in the eye and said it like he was asking for the salt. "We don't have space for you." I smiled, nodded, and left without a word. What he didn't know, by morning, he'd lose the house because I owned half of it. But before we start, don't forget to like this video, comment where you're watching from, and hit that subscribe button so you never miss a story like this. It started here. I moved in with nothing but 2 worn suitcases, a folded quilt from my old bedroom, and a framed photo of my late husband, James. The day I handed my son Josh $180,000, the full payout from James's life insurance, I didn't hesitate, not once. "It's your future," I told him. "Our family's stability." He had just married Megan, and they were trying to buy a 4-bedroom house in a Charlotte suburb. When the bank denied them the full mortgage, I stepped in. Megan hugged me like a Hallmark commercial. "We'll never forget this, Linda. You'll always have a home with us." Josh kissed my cheek and promised I'd never need to lift a finger again. The house was modern, sterile, echoey, white walls, gray floors, a kitchen that looked allergic to burnt pans. My room was downstairs, technically the guest suite. No closet, a twin bed, half bath, no shower. Still, I didn't complain. I was just happy to hear people in the mornings again. Josh made me coffee those first few days. Megan taught me to use their Wi-Fi thermostat though. She huffed every time I needed help. We had dinner together. Once, by the second week, the tone shifted. Megan joked to friends that she lived with 2 kids and a grandma. Josh groaned when I asked if I could put up a shelf in the laundry room. Then came the changes. The upstairs fridge got a padlock. Megan said she was meal prepping. The modem moved to the upstairs office. My Netflix stopped working for 3 days. One night, I heard Megan on the phone in the kitchen. "She's sweet, but we need our own life. This isn't sustainable." I kept quiet. I kept cooking, folding towels, wiping counters. I gave them space. I smiled when Megan talked about turning the downstairs den into a nursery. But then I heard it. I was walking to the kitchen to make tea and caught Josh's voice from around the corner. "She won't leave if we keep being nice. We've got to push her out without a fight," Megan replied, sharper. "She won't sign her share over unless she feels unwanted. Make it uncomfortable. She leave herself." I stood frozen, staring at the wallpaper I'd helped pick out just 6 days earlier. My son, my only child, was scheming to get rid of me. Not for safety, not for peace, for space, for convenience. That night, I made chicken Alfredo, favorite. Neither of them came to the table. Megan said she'd already eaten. Josh mumbled something about work and stayed upstairs. I ate alone, slowly, remembering soccer games, ER visits, birthday cards I'd saved in a shoebox I still carried in my suitcase. Now I was just an obstacle, a calculation. The next morning, I was washing strawberries when Megan walked in, arms folded, face blank. "Linda," she said, "we think it's time you looked for something more permanent. Just your own space, you know, for your comfort." Josh entered, sipping coffee. "We don't have space for you anymore, Mom," he said. "You need to go." Just like that, I wiped my hands on a dish towel, turned to them both, and smiled. Not wide, not fake, just still. "Okay," I said. "I'll be out by tonight." Megan blinked. Josh nodded, like he'd just finished a chore. "Thanks, Ma," he said, already turning away. I packed everything, my clothes, James's photo, a paperback I never finished, and a red folder I kept buried at the bottom of my suitcase. The house deed, my name right next to Josh's, 49% co-owner. I didn't say goodbye. I ordered a cab and left without looking back, but I knew something they didn't. That house wasn't just their dream. It was their ticking time bomb, and I had just lit the fuse. The cab ride to the extended stay motel was quiet. I sat in the back holding the red folder like a newborn, my hand clenched so tight the corner left a mark. I'd booked the room a week earlier, not because I expected to need it, because something inside whispered, "Be ready." The motel was clean, but tired, faded carpet, a flickering lamp, the smell of fried onions soaked into the walls. I paid cash for 3 nights, declined housekeeping. That night, I lay on the stiff bed with the TV on mute, the deed resting on my chest like armor. I wasn't mad, I wasn't even surprised, but I was done. The next morning, I used the motel printer to make 5 copies of the deed, 1 for me, 1 for a lawyer, 3 for backup. I was halfway through my second cup of diner coffee when the call came. Unknown number, Ms. Carter. Yes, My name's Brad, Carolina Private Lending. You're listed as a co-owner of a property at 124 Grayson Park Drive. My heart slowed. Is there a problem? There's been a default, Brad said. Your son, Mr. Joshua Carter, took out a $95,000 business loan using the house as collateral. Payments haven't been made in months. We've issued 3 warnings. He's in breach, unless the loan is resolved. Foreclosure proceedings begin Friday. I didn't react. I asked questions. Got details. Josh had borrowed for a marketing startup. It collapsed in 3 months. Megan either didn't know or pretended not to. Brad was polite but firm. I could stop the foreclosure, pay the loan, or sign off and let it go. I asked him to email the paperwork. When it arrived, I printed it, took out the same blue pen I used to sign Josh's kindergarten permission slip, and signed every line deliberately. I scanned and sent it back. Brad called again to confirm. Foreclosure will move forward, he said. Thank you, Ms. Cotter. I hung up, turned off my phone, sat very still. Josh was about to know what it felt like to be left without warning. I didn't cry, didn't vent. I just listened to the silence I'd been denied for years. Later that afternoon, I walked to a tiny grocery store, bought peanut butter crackers, instant coffee, and a small bottle of wine. That night, I toasted myself, not for revenge, not for victory, for realizing I was never going to be treated like family again, so I might as well start treating myself like a person who mattered. At 8 a.m. the next morning, a text from Josh. Did you cancel something with the house? We got a weird letter from a lender. No reply. 3 hours later, there's a notice on the door. Call me. Still, nothing. 3:17 p.m. Megan, Linda, please, we're confused. Just tell us what's going on. I turned off the phone. Not to be cruel, to stay sane. Because if I heard one more fake plea from the woman who tried to erase me, I might forget that silence is sometimes the sharpest weapon of all. Foreclosure hit faster than I expected. Less than 48 hours after I signed, the sheriff's office taped a bright orange notice to the door. I didn't see it. I didn't have to. Megan posted a panicked message in the neighborhood Facebook group. Urgent, our home is being targeted by a scam. Please help. People flooded the comments. What happened? You guys were doing so well. Megan spun it into vague hardship. We're being betrayed by someone we trusted, she wrote. Someone who should have protected us. Then came the texts. My cousin, a woman from church, James's sister, Linda, what's going on? Megan had made it look like I sabotaged them out of spite. She didn't mention the $180,000 the way they pushed me out. The loan Josh took behind my back. Just betrayal. Josh posted an old photo of Usim at 5, eating ice cream. Caption, it's hard when the people who raised you end up turning on you. No names, no tags, just implication. Manipulation. I thought about defending myself, posting the deed, the loan, the texts, but I remembered what my father used to say, don't fight people rolling in the mud, you'll only get dirty and enjoy it. So I stayed silent. Until the call came. The sheriff's department, Ms. Carter, just a courtesy call. Formal lockout at Grayson Park scheduled Friday at 10 a.m. You're not required to be there. Just notifying you as a listed party. I thanked him, didn't ask questions, but I couldn't sleep. I kept picturing it. Josh, in sweatpants. Megan crying on the porch. Garbage bags of belongings on the lawn. Still, I didn't feel satisfaction. Just stillness. They'd chosen this. Every step. Friday, I didn't go anywhere. Stayed in my room, made oatmeal, waited. 10:42 a.m. voicemail. Josh's voice. I don't know what you did, but we're out. Gone. You ruined us, Mom. Hope you're happy. No apology, no regret, just blame. At noon, Megan messaged, if you wanted to hurt us, we're being evicted. I just hope you sleep well tonight. You've destroyed your family. That word clung to me all day, as if it wasn't theirs too. As if I had no right to walk away from people who used me like a step stool. I turned off the phone, walked to the corner store, bought a notebook. On the first page, I wrote, today, they lost everything. And I found my silence. I sat down, turned to a clean page. That was the final straw. I pulled up the deed. I pulled up the bank statement showing the transfer. I pulled up the email from Brad confirming the foreclosure. I took screenshots of Megan's text. Once she's gone, we can finally plan the nursery. Then I sent it all to the pastor, to my cousins, to the church ladies group chat. Megan still hadn't left. I didn't add commentary, just proof. 5 minutes later, my niece replied, "Oh, so she lied to everyone." Then silence. No one defended her. No one said a word, but I knew they saw it. I knew the thread had broken. Later that night, I got a message. It was from Josh. "Please, call me. Just talk to me." 10 minutes later, "I know things got bad, but you're still my mom." I didn't reply, not because I hated him, but because some bridges don't burn all at once. Some crumble, piece by piece, every time someone you love decides you're disposable. I stared at the phone for a long time before locking it and sliding it into the drawer. Then I lay down on the motel bed and whispered into the silence, "Still your mom, but not your fool." And for the first time, I slept 8 hours without waking once. It started with a bouquet of white lilies, the kind Josh used to bring home from the grocery store when he was a teenager trying to apologize for denting the car or flunking a quiz. They were outside my motel door in a cheap glass vase with a note that read, "Let's talk, please." No name, just that. I didn't touch them. I didn't bring them in. I left them there overnight. By morning, they had started to wilt. The front desk clerk asked if I wanted them tossed. I said yes. That afternoon, Josh showed up in person. No warning, just knocked on the door around 2 p.m. and said, "Mom, it's me. Can we talk?" I stared through the peephole for a long minute. He looked tired, pale, like someone who hadn't been sleeping just like me. Against my better judgment, I cracked the door open. "5 minutes," I said. He nodded, like a child being given a second chance. We sat at opposite ends of the little round table by the window. I watched him try to decide which version of himself to be. Finally, he settled on quiet and sad. "I messed up," he said. "I know that I should have told you about the loan. I shouldn't have let Megan talk to you like that. I just, panicked." I said nothing, just waited. "She's pregnant," he added, as if that explained everything. We were scared. I looked at him, really looked, and for a split second, I saw the boy who used to cry when I left for night shifts, but he wasn't that boy anymore. He was a man who threw me out of my own investment and painted me as the villain online. "I didn't come to argue," he said. I was wondering if you'd be willing to sign a document. Nothing big, just something to help us negotiate with the lender." That was the moment my gut screamed. He hadn't changed. He hadn't come for peace. He came because he still thought I was a lever he could pull when things got desperate. "Show me," I said. He hesitated, then pulled out a manila folder and handed me the paper. I read it once, then again. It wasn't just a consent form. It was a partial power of attorney, disguised in legal jargon. It would give him limited access to manage the foreclosure, which meant bank accounts, which meant my retirement fund. I set the paper down. "Get out," I said. He blinked. "Mom, out." He stood slowly, like he thought he could salvage the moment with one more line. "We're going to lose the baby's future, Mom." I looked him dead in the eye. "You already did." He left without another word. I locked the door behind him and stood there until my hands stopped shaking. Then I called the motel front desk and asked to be moved to a new room. Different floor, different hallway. They didn't ask why. I packed everything in 15 minutes and moved before dinner. I blocked Josh's number that night, not because I was angry, because I had to protect myself from the part of me that still wanted to believe he meant it when he said he messed up. The next morning, I walked to the housing board office and handed Doreen the card she'd given me. She looked up and smiled like she'd been expecting me. "I want to move on," I told her. "Not just from them. From all of it." She didn't say, "I'm proud of you," or "You're doing the right thing." She just slid a folder across the table labeled Senior Housing, Coastal Options. First page. A 2-bedroom condo near Wilmington, with ocean access and rent I could afford on my pension. I circled it. This one. That evening, I received one last email, this time from Megan. No emojis. No hashtags. Just. "I don't know what we're supposed to do now. We have nothing. I know you hate me, but think of the baby." I stared at the screen a long time, then I closed the laptop, made a cup of tea, and watched the sun dip behind the motel parking lot. I didn't reply, not yet, because what I was planning next wasn't a response, it was a reckoning.